Welcome to a different kind of tasting video. I am Daniel Whittington, Chancellor of Wizard Academy and Whiskey Marketing School and a Level 4 Whiskey Sommelier. If you are watching this, it's because someone cared enough about you to give you a pretty exclusive invite to a pretty incredible group, the Shareholder Society and the Difference Bourbon. I'm going to talk about the whiskey. There's a lot of amazing reasons why this is a pretty kick-ass group. I'm going to focus a little bit on the whiskey and the story. And if you're watching this video, it's because not only were you interested in the community, but you were also interested in the whiskey and wanted to do a little bit of a deep dive. So prepare yourself. This might take a second. But, you know, we're not going to go through this without trying the whiskey. We're not savages. So, the group. Where did this whiskey come from? Chris Voss and Nick Nanton partnered up to try to figure out the answer to this question. When you're creating business relationships and trying to connect with people, and the people you're trying to connect with have the kind of money where they can pretty much buy what they want, but you love whiskey and you want to share it with them, what do you get them? What do you buy a whiskey drinker who can buy any whiskey they want? And the answer is a whiskey they can't buy. So they went looking for a whiskey that not only could the general public not get their hands on, but that was worthy of being a gift to people who had the kind of money that could buy any whiskey they wanted. They reached out to Bardstown. Now, Bardstown Bourbon Company in Kentucky, relatively new on the bourbon scene as far as like some of these distilleries have histories going back hundreds of years. They're relatively new, but they are brilliant humans, innovative thinkers on how they produce bourbon, but also just classically good whiskey makers. But a lot of people are sourcing Bardstown bourbon. If you're a whiskey drinker, you know this. And if you're not a whiskey drinker, just so you know, a lot of people are sourcing Bardstown bourbon. So they reached out to Dan at Bardstown, who's the master blender, and told them what they were looking for. And it needed to be special, not just like, give us some of the stuff you make for everybody, we'll take some of our barrels and call it done and call it special. No, they wanted something unique and interesting. And Dan said, you guys need to meet my friend, Roy Milner. Roy Milner, I already knew in the whiskey industry as a very influential, brilliant business human and great whiskey aficionado and just all around good person. And he said, have I got a plan for you? Turns out Roy Milner is friends with Jim Rutledge. If you don't know whiskey, you may not know that name. If you do know whiskey, you know that name. He is a Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Famer. He was the master distiller of Four Roses until he retired. And when he retired from Four Roses, he decided to make the whiskey that he always wanted to make. Because when you work for a corporation, you have to make good whiskey, but within the parameters of their brand and their styling. So when he was cut free and unshackled from the bonds of Four Roses, which is a great whiskey in and of itself, he decided to make the whiskey he'd always wanted to make. And he created it with Bardstown Bourbon. Created around 200 barrels, set it aside, had no plan with what to do with it. Along comes Roy Milner, and then Roy is introduced to Chris Voss and Nick Nanton. And together they go, I think we have a plan for those 200 barrels. So what you are drinking is one barrel turned into these shareables that is only shared with people who are interested in the shareholder community of one of Jim Rutledge's Hall of Fame whiskey making barrels of whiskey of the bourbon he always wanted to make. Nothing like it anywhere in the world. Cannot buy this. You are literally holding a piece of history in a glass. Now, just to give you some tasting notes, if you're holding this, you should be drinking with me because what are we doing otherwise? On the nose, this is the most classic bourbon you've ever had in your entire life. I say this every time, and I mean it every time. In Plato's Cave, there is a chair on which all other chairs are modeled. In Plato's Cave, there is this bourbon on which all other bourbons are modeled. It is home plate, classic, everything you have ever loved about Kentucky bourbon done flawlessly. It is dark chocolate cherry with a slight citrus wedge. It's dry dust, cocoa powder, corn sweetness, slight oak tannin. This one's 6 years old, by the way. Came from the 6th floor on Warehouse E at Bardstown. Oh, on the palate, soft, sweet, creamy, almost dreamsicle, and then dryness. That oak tannin is sort of taking over a little bit. Let it sit. You want to, if you're new to whiskey, you want to drink this about like you would really hot coffee. Small sips, just swallow it, breathe, let that, this is cask strength, right? So we're talking 50.25% alcohol. It's high proof alcohol, and if you're not used to that, it's going to punch you in the face a little. So you just want to be easy. You can also add water to your whiskey. There's no problem with that. At fancy, super snooty whiskey clubs, they will always serve you still water with your whiskey because it can help to open up things, soften it, and make it more accessible. It can also introduce you to flavors that are kind of buried in the chemical structure of the whiskey. And that's really whiskey nerdy, and that's about where I'm going to stop on that. On the nose again, dry corn dust, citrus chocolate, hint of a cherry but not dominating. On the palate, ooh, there it is, soft brown sugars, pastry, oak tannin dryness. Gosh, that's so good. If you're looking into this group, it doesn't just mean you get some really award-winning whiskey, that no one can buy. It does, and you do. And when you do, the point is gonna be to give it away, not to hoard it. Because the purpose of this group is connection and community, and being able to stand beside the other members in this group and do interesting things that alter the world in positive ways. Whiskey is not the main thing. Whiskey is never meant to be the main thing. People are the main thing. People, relationship, connection, community, and growth. Whiskey is the thing that sometimes helps us get there. In the shareholder group, you get introduced to that community. They do a couple of social events open to you every year. Different locations with whiskey-related experiences where the entire community comes together. And then you have other ways to connect through WhatsApp group, exclusive access. There's other special events they do throughout the year. And those are all cool things. But the most powerful point of whiskey is human connection. It's not the glass, it's the people on either side of the glass that they share together. And that's why this whiskey is a gift. And right now, this whiskey is a gift to you. Cheers to you. And we are all really glad you're here. And as we say here at the Shareholder Society, never split, always share. Cheers to you.